This time from Yerushalmi Pesachim in the article Oz Ve'Elishim on the top from Samach Aleph Amar Aleph Mamish at the top, Masnisa, which in the Vilna is the last line on Nun Aleph on the base, Masnisa. So it's not going on our Mishnah over here. It's going Mishnah Maseches Erevin. The case is you have a charitz ben shtei chatzeros, a trench between two yards, and there it says, if you filled it up with teven, filled up the trench with hay, that's not considered to be filling, and therefore the 2 yards have to make two separate erevin. If the charitz is, of course, the shear, which is going to separate you into 10 tefachim deep. So and 4 tefachim across. So that's the case. So there says teven doesn't negate the trench. That's not Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi teven vitlo mevuto. In the case where Rabbi Yossi said teven vitlo is mevuto, is if you have the shear by tuman tara is a tefach, and if you have a opening of a tefach, so then Tuma can go from one side to the other. And there, the Rabbi Yossi says, if you filled it up with teven and you mevatel it, in the gate of the teven, you can't keep the teven there, it's mevutal, it's considered to be batel, and it closes up the opening, and the Tuma gets stuck inside and doesn't go to the other side. So, Rabbi Yossi said, no, Mishnah Erevin works out good to everybody. Mad Amar Rabbi Yossi, that which Rabbi Yossi said, it's that the teven is considered to be part and parcel now of the structure, is bala ba'afar. You mix dirt into it, and you mix dirt into it, so then that's considered to be already the same thing like dirt and pebbles, and it's considered to be a part of the structure, and therefore it's bato, it seals the gap. The bulb offer is not an answer given by in the Bavli, but the next answer is in the Bavli. Yesh temen shuka afar, so this is a separate possibility. Yesh temen shuka afar, yesh offer shuka teven. There's sometimes when teven is like offer, offer is like teven. Offer by default is bato. Teven by default is not bato. Sometimes teven is like offer, sometimes offer is like teven. Teven she'ena sila fanoso. If you have teven, which you don't have any intent of ever removing, you're going to leave it there forever. So then that's considered to be batel and becomes part of the structure. The harayik offer. And offer shall see also offer by default is considered to be part of the structure. If you have in mind to remove it later on, so then harayik teven, it's like teven and it's not batel. Okay, now we have another interesting halacha. Today's Rabbi Ani Amrei, in the house of Rabbi Ani, they said, Chifola b'machzolos. If you covered it with tarps, you cover the teven with tarps, it's a batel. It's going to be batel. It's going to be the same which you're leaving there. I guess because you're covering up there, you tend to leave it there for a long time. So that's what I understand. How does that work? Let's look at this carefully. Milu machzolos, right? If you fill the trench full of machzolos, right? It's low batel, not batel, tarps. You just put tarps in this trench. They don't become part and parcel of the structure. They're not. The trench remains a trench. Chifo machzolos batel. If you cover it with machzolos, it's batel. Well, it doesn't really answer the question. More just leaves it dangling. Chayos. So in Erevin, when we learned this not so long ago, we touched it up like the Mashbiach, that chayoyos is sacks. So you fill up with sacks with like sandbags. So then it's tzricha. In that case, we're not sure what the halacha is. Actually, there the Girs and Erevin Daf Mem Zayin base in the Vilna was chayoyos, and we wrote that so here in Pesachim is chayos. Somebody gave a shtickle terror there, but okay. But in any event, we'll leave that for now. Okay, so so it's not clear if they're full or not full. Right? That's what we talk about there. whether these are bags which are full or not full. It's not clear from the Gemara itself whether they're bags which are empty or full. But in any event, the Gemara says the sacks seems like more likely that most likely they're sandbags, and that would consider to be a milui because they're made to stay there. And that I see actually. It's the next line here. It's not there in Eruvin. That's why I was confused there. No, it's there too. And there it says, the next line is there too. It says, Rabbi Yamshem Mishim Lakish Afilu Rak. Right? So there's those who, the curse in Eruvin is Rok. Sorry, there the Gersa is Rok. And in fact, there are those who say it's actually saliva. But here the Gersa is Rak. And in both cases, I wrote there and here that the Gersa is Rake. I feel it should be Rake. And that actually is what it says in Nazir, Perak Tes Halacha Beis. That it's Rake, and that means that even so sandbags, if they're full, for sure it's a question. And Rabbi Zion says, no, it's not a question. They're full. It's a milui, and even rake, even if they're empty, if they're also the bags are considered to be a milui. They're different than tarps, right? Tarps are things that you move around. Bags are places, things you leave in place, evidently. Now we get back to kever to home. Ezu kever to home. Kol she'ein adam zochro. Nobody remembers it. So that's more. Well, how do you do that? Chash lamar, aren't you concerned? Shema echo b'sov elam yodea. Maybe somebody knows about it, and here this is very strange language here. Becheskas achai kechai. So what does that mean? So the Moshe says, where is it now? Chashem Hashem yesh ereb b'sab om sheyodeh b'cheskas achai kechai. Klamar k'mo hu b'chai shecheskosu shura adam os adam acher chai. It's just like by somebody who's alive. We assume that person remains alive, so too maybe the still person at the end of the world still remembers about this kever. And or else it means that, well, if this person's buried, there's somebody who's alive must have dealt with him, right? So I mean, cheskas hachai v'chai. There's a chazaka that a live person dealt with this person. So either cheskas hachai means to be stoned with that person who knew about it is still alive. We have to assume he's still alive somewhere in the world. And who knows? Maybe he's somewhere else who's just not here present. The other one is somebody chai dealt with this person, right? So the so really, it should be says name Moshe. It should be like he says. That is how you know. Those really should be cheskas achai b'meis. So that the cheska is that a live person deals with a dead person. Cheskas chai b'chai. Okay. So in other words, the way it is. Okay, again, the way it is in front of cheskas hachai kechai would mean that it's a chazaka that the person who knew about it is still alive, we just maybe somewhere else in the world. The way the second pshat Moshe is cheskas hachai bachai, right? The assumption is that a live person dealt with this other live person, meaning with this dead person. So the Gemara says, you're right. If you found him buried, there would be a problem. You would have to assume somebody knows about it. Either that person is somewhere else in the world. But the Pasuk Shemitzol Kamtsutz. The Torah you found Kamtsutz says the Pnei Moshe Merutzatz, crushed up, Mumuach. Kedam Hashem Mekamon Shani Omer Ugal Nafal Lavarago. We say avalanche fell on him and killed him. V'lo Kirbo Adam Mechamel. Nobody ever recognized him. Okay, so the that is the scenario in Echanami you found buried would be, we can assume it's a kever at home. So the Gemara says, Tani ein l'cho osa kever ela mace bilvad. Kever only applies by a mace. This is a special halacha, whether according to Yerushalmi we learn from Sukkot, let's say yesterday, according to Bible we learn out from halacha Moshe Rabbeinu. It's only being a vase, not by other tumas, which includes, let's say, by suffix of, on a hub and a velilo. Also not by an avela. So the Gemara says that's kavachomer. I understand. My mace. Now here the Kormei reverses things a bit in the Girsa. He says, not reverses, he changes them. My mace shemetami ba'ohel. Who mace is metami ba'ohel, not shenosa mishka moshav. A mace is time ba'ohel osa kever to home. Makes kever to home, so it's more severe. The vela she'ena metami ba'ohel, it's not metami ba'ohel, not instead of osa mishka moshav. And then she kever to home. This is not a kavach should make kavatom should be lean. Since it's more lenient tumah, should be more lenient. Okay, Pnei Moshe has a different way of learning it without changing the girsa, but it's more difficult. That's easier just to do the change of girsa. So so Gemara says, "Eis davar nemar ein davar osa kever to home." What is it? So what's it telling us? Okay, that it does make kever to home. That's only it didn't be mace, right, and not by anything else. Lahoti mishkav umoshav. It comes to preclude mishkav umoshav. That we don't say leniency by them. Now, see, this is something missing here, and that's why Yerushalmi Pesachim puts in zav, because that starts out in the band. They're about zav, so he puts in zav, and in order to work out that the answer by zav is also going by. The question is also by zav, so the answer is going by zav. But even though put it in, the what would be a case of tumas sotom by velukor me'eda says you stick your hand into a crevice and you touch something and you didn't know if you touched a nevela there or not. And mishkav u'moshe would also be you have something which you don't know if it's a mishkav u'moshe of azov. So I might say that it's called tumas. I guess maybe it's buried somewhere. You know, if you touched it or didn't touch it. Maybe this is definitely a mishkav u'moshe of azov, but you don't know if you touched it or not. So therefore, I might say just like by keratom, I can make so do by anything else which is in home in a concealed area. I make No, it tells you that even though we couldn't make avochomer, they have this principle that kevatom is only by mace to preclude any case either by the vela or a zav mishkav u'moshe that I don't say the same that's something like that's something that's concealed, something which is hidden, something which I'm not trying to get into contact with because it's hidden. That the tumas tom, no, it's only by mace. Okay, the article here is actually 2 dots. The Vilna doesn't have 2 dots, just a single dot, but I guess even the article is kind of new sugi here. Talmud here, we learned over there. Kos Bachim. What's my place? Kos Bachim Shlikiba Daman. All the korbanos where the kabbalah is done by a zar, an onain, somebody who's obviously before the mace is buried. Zar is Yisrael or Levi. An onain utful yom. It's not to avoida. Mechus begonim. It's not fully dressed. As opposed to avoida. Mechus Purim hasn't yet undergone the korbanos he's supposed to bring at the end of his Tara period. Hand wash his hands and feet. Orel has no circumcised. Tameh Yosheb sitting down. Homin agabe kalim is standing on a kalim, which is a chatzitz between himself and the karka. Agabe behema on an animal. Agabe chavera on his friend. Standing, he has put his feet on his friend's feet in the base of mikdash. All these things are possible. The avodah is possible. Droimoyamu, the Chachmei Adoram said, "Betomei tumas ziva, betumas tzoras onukami." Not all tumas are the same. If you the coin is tummy as a zav or mitzayra, then the avodah is possible. Tmei mace ain't mechal. This tmei mace not mechal avodah. Why not? So it says miachashu tummy mechal tumah rabbi in Pesach. Since tumah hutra b'tibur does not apply to tumah zav and tumas tzoras, but does apply to tumas mace, so therefore it's more lenient. Since we have a case where it's hutra miklolo by too much of a tzibur, so therefore, if somebody a coin was over as a tumei mace, he's not mechal avodah. Mace b'shem l'oksh dromoy. So Shem Lakish asked Dromoy similar questions ones we had previously. My bailam she piece of koich mishar kol tumas sheb shona. If the owner whose tumah the rest of the year doesn't make a difference, he can send his korbanos to the base of mikdash. You said on his Tmei Meis on Pesach, and it was a case where Tumah was not Hutra B'Tzibur. He can't do the Korban Pesach. So the Pnei Moshe says, the Kohen says, I don't know if we need it, but Shesh Lein Atmei Meso Nidcha Pesach Sheni Save Ish V'Goymer. So Oved the Kohen. So radical of Shayim to Tumas Kohen Shani can't be over to the rest of the year. Ain't a din Shatura Koicha B'Tmei Mesa Pesach is not Kav V'Chomer that he shouldn't be able to be Oved and his Abba Shiposu by Tmei Mace by Pesach, and Tmei Moshe adds, which is necessary in the context of the Sugya, also the Sharkabar, so the rest of the year. Right? There's no maybe he's more Chomer, and therefore it's not going to work. It's not going to be Matir Zavoda. Vote. Furthermore, Shoshana Rebbe taught us, Hatzitz Meratza al Tumas Adam. The Tzitz Meratza, we learned this yesterday, on the tumor of the blood. Ve'en Hatzitz Meratza al Tumas Aguf. It's just not Meratza al Tumas Aguf. So, it doesn't, even though it's, when he's talking, not even though, when it comes to Mace, it's not going to help us with that. In Tamar, maybe you're going to say, well, the tzitz does work, in fact, for Tumas Aguf of Tumas Mace. Perhaps it's only Tumas Ziva, Tumas Tzaras and Kayomim. Maybe it's only there that does work. Leis Yochil. You can't say that. It says the Korbaneda. Leis Yochil Yerushalmi Pesachim. The Tani Sefer Nidma Tumas Atohem Matis Tzitz Meratze. It said before. It says the end of this brisa that Nidma Tumas Tom Tzitz Meratze across signal El Lorm with Tumas Atohem El Meisubad. Lavuki Tumas Ziva. That's the only thing that Tzitz Meratzan is Tumas Hatom B'Meis, and we established Tumas Ziva doesn't work. So therefore, when it says the Rage said Tzitz Meratzan Tumas Tom Tzitz Meratzan Tumas Aguf, it's going on the Tumas Aguf of the Sefer where Tzitz works, and saying that even there where the Tzitz works for Tumas Hatoim, which is only Tumas Meis, then it's not Meratza on it's not Meratza on a regular Tumas Mace. Hope that was clear. My Abdin to Ramoy. Well, what did the Ramoy do with this? Ramoy just said that Tumas Mace, the coin was over Tumas Mace, but yeah, but it works. So it seems that it's not Meratza, so it shouldn't be effective. If the tzitz not Meratza kosher without the tzitz, it shouldn't be okay. So pasim abaylim. They'll say that which its tzitz doesn't help us out is by the baylim, is by the where the there's a name it says so I don't think it was explicit more we had before, but it just said when the Ramoy said so it seems now that Gemara is saying clearly, implicitly I should say, that Tmei Meis not Mechal because it sits as Maratza, and even though it's not Tumas Hatoim. So therefore the Gemara is saying that, so what does the Ramoy say? The packet says that ain't it's Maratza. So that's about Beilim, that if the owner became Tomei, the tzitz is not Maratza, that he should be able to eat. So if eat by Korban Pesach, when the mitzvah is Achila, and the tzitz, we don't say tzitz is Maratza, that he should be able to eat from the Korban. So the Gemara says, okay, fine, but near Nazir. But we said tzitz is not Maratza by Nazir there's no Achila. Right? So it says, even Shinit Mu Bailim, Halosh Amar Bei Ena Tzitz Maratza. You can't say that the tzitz is not Maratza. Dim Nitma, but the Korban says it has interesting twist here. It says, Dim Nitma, if he came Tomei, ain't a Karbana. It's been no Korban. If he's a Torah, if he was a Nazir Torah, and then he brought a Korban to and then he became Tomei, he can't bring the same Korban anymore. It has to be a Korban Tumah. So you can't say that it's about the Bailim there, because there the tzitz, and tell you it's not being Maratza, it's bullshit. Without the tzitz, they can't do anything. You have to take another Korban. So it'll be Korban Tumah. That's a Korban Pshat. And that the Gemara answers Paislei ba'Oivdim. Echanami a big chiddush, but that by Nazir, even the Oivdim, the since it's not going to be maratza, even though by Pesach it would be. Other Kabbalas would be, but not by Nazir. So that's what it says. But Nazir, if you're going to over Shim of Mace, ain't a maratza. Came the Gamba Bam Shim of Mace, ends a Karbanam. Since the Bible came to him, Mace, it's not the right Korban. Who are the Nami Posel? I know it's also possible. Avashar Kabbalas, where there's no change in status because we come to me, Shabbat, Shabbat, Korban, Shem, Betuma, Ab Ovid Kosher, so too with if the Ovid became Tomei, the Rome say it's okay. Came Pesach, also by Pesach, Ovuta, so it's Pesach, Liyochi, Shabbat, Betuma. Since by Yochi is allowed to do Pesach, Haba, Betuma, with the Kohen Ovid, it's Mutzah Kohen Ovid, even if Tuma's not a Shabbat Tzibur, should the Mace, Shabbat, Pesach, Kosher. So Shimon Lakish had asked on the Deromoi, and he said, "You're heter by a Kohen Shava Tumas Mace. I don't buy it." And he said, "It's not going to work." And according to him, that Shimon Lakish lo shine he bailim yoivdim. Just like a bailim is possible by Korban Pesachs that he can't eat, and the tzitz is not maratza on his achila. So to the oivdim, the tzitz is not maratza ever on their avodah. To mastom, yes, but not by any other type of tuma, and therefore the kohen who is oived betuma, it's possible, or by Pesach and by the korbanos as well. I should be inside. The korban says that we should look at part of Masnisin. Should the sover ein chiluk ben kohen oived the bailim the bailim shidim enos in Pesach when you kohen oived came the possible Pesach koshkim shar korbanos. It's possible. I'm not sure it's koshkim, but it's possible or korbanos as well. The thing is, Rosh Shimon Lakish asked from a Kavachomer. He said, if the Bailim who can send the Karbanos, or they can't eat Batuma, right? So the Ovid who can't do the Avodah the rest of the year, his Avodah Batuma is going to be apostle. Rabbi Yirmiyah says Kavachomer is not necessarily a valid Kavachomer. He says, raise the Kavachomer there is a rejection of this Kavachomer. Then you call him Meimarle. The drawing can say back to Shlokish, Lom Martha Bailim, the rest of the year they also have a raska. They're not. They have a flaw. They have a defect. So Ratagom Bezagim Chayla. The Zogim Chayla, the rest of the year, meaning by Korban Pesach in this case, they can't eat the Korban Pesach. Tomar ba'oivin, as we of course had yesterday as well. So therefore, it could be also that if they're oivin b'tuma, but the avoid is kosher. Which there is a response to it, but the kavachomer is Baal v'chomer. Rabbi Yechon said, I have another reason it's kavachomer l'tshuva. They can say, Bailim are different. By Pesach, Mila is Chorav, Avodah, Makrin, so if he has males in his household and Avodim in his household who are not done a bris Mila, they impede him from doing the Korban Pesach. So therefore, he has a flaw, a defect, and therefore maybe that's why he can't eat Batuma. Time Rabbi Ovid is supposed to Ovid. Shem Mila is Chorav, Avodim, Makrin, so Kohen has males or Avodim not gemalt, he can still do the Avodah. So therefore, could be that's why he's not as affected by by Tuma either, and therefore, if he's over Tuma, but yeah, but it's kosher. That's what Jeremiah old. But same idea. Has a response. The Kavachomer is no void. So Yitzchak Gufta now comes to ask a question on the Jeremiah. He doesn't like their logic. He says, you want to learn because too much of a tzibur, so you can be made by a kohen or eved, but the eved the rest of the year that his tumah is kosher. He says, no, it's not going to work. He says, Yitzchak Gufta boycott around Pesach. If a yochid be Pesach, lo minah b'tzibur Pesach, and we say just like tumah hutra b'tzibur by Pesach, and therefore the tzibur can eat. So to the yochid, not sure if he can eat, but at least his korban should be kosher with the eved, even though he can't eat, right? We say that in fact his tummy is korban is still kosher. So then, you have a point, right? Pesach, but then I could say, and Oived was the Yochid the rest of the year. The Kohen could learn from the Yochid on Pesach. But Yerushalmi Pesachim lo minatzir on Pesach. But we're asking allowed to Ovid who's an individual. The rest of the year, not all the Kohanim Tummy, just one Kohen Tummy, that he should be possible kosher with the Eved from the fact that it's Tumah Utra B'tzibur on Erev Pesach. There's no comparison between the two. Can't leave Yechidim from B'tzibur. Okay, next question also going to be on the Ziknei Adoram, but it's ready on the next page. So I will leave Rabbi Ami, which is the top next number for tomorrow.